Good evening. I'm speaking today with Hiran Cooray, the Deputy Chairperson of Jetwing Travels, Jetwing Hotels, is it?
Yeah.
Jetwing Hotels, and your sister is Jetwing Travels.
That's
so it's
right.
a family business. Yeah. And that's a good place to start, I suppose. The question could be asked, being a family business, does it make it any easier, is it more challenging to run the operations?
We were a family business for a long time, of course, though the family still manages. We also now have Haley's as a partner in the hotel division, but the travels still remain quite independent. But we have, luckily we have complete freedom to manage our hotels. It's, I mean, sometimes it's very interesting also to be a family and in management. We get to spend a lot of time together and we discuss. Not necessarily the wives are that happy, you know, when we are talking only business even at a family dinner.
But do brother and sister battle it out in family circles, and does it go to the corporate boardroom as well, or how does it work?
No, well, actually, I mean, you know, until June last year when my dad passed away, he played the role of the mediator or the, you know, the final decision maker.
Right.
And since then we've been working very closely together. I mean, always we've been working closely together, but if we did have any issues, we could always run to him.
Hiran, tell me, as you were growing up clearly imbued in the 70s, 80s, in the atmosphere, clearly of a father who was a entrepreneur, hotelier, developing the idea of Jetwing at the time. What was it like, and was it then a given, really, for you to enter the trade, the service?
Not really. At that time, I was only interested in playing cricket, you know, and then and my father didn't kind of say, look, you have to work in the business or whatever it is. And he, you know, when my name started appearing in the papers, he encouraged me to play cricket. And then suddenly it dawned on me, look, you know, one day I had to study. So then he encouraged me to study. And then I went to the States and studied. And only once when I asked him, you know, what do you think I should do? Then he said, look, come back and start working. So that was how I started working. I mean, you know, for the first 3 months, I was just going behind him and, you know, learning the trade, so to say. And then...
so you did do that. It wasn't as if you had a silver spoon and
no.
You started right up there at the top management. You did.
Well, after that, he made me the managing director of the company.
Right.
So when I told him, look, what do I do? I mean, I had a degree, and then here I was with very little experience.
And a degree in marketing, I take it.
Yes. Yeah. And but then he told, I was 25 years of age at that time. He said, look, Castro was 27 when he took over Cuba. If you can't run this small company, then you're not worth it, you know. So that was the way he kind of encouraged me to get on with it. And
how difficult is it, Hiran, today in the present context to do what you're doing?
Extremely difficult. I mean, you know, tourism, as you know, has gone through really a rough ride for the last 25 years. And I've often wondered, you know, should we ever...
There was a brief hiatus, though, when the ceasefire...
Yes, yeah. So, like, more down than up. I mean, those 2 years are fantastic years. But other than that, it's always been down. And also, you know, everybody has an opinion on tourism. I mean, if I was a heart surgeon, say, you know, nobody will tell me how to open your heart out. But, you know, when you meet people at cocktail parties, you know, they say, what are you guys doing? You're selling this country so cheap, so low. You're getting the wrong type of
So what's your take? What's your opinion of it?
I say we don't have a level playing field.
Okay. And what do you mean by that?
You know, most of the other countries that have done very well over the last 20 to 25 years, they haven't had a war in the country, you know. So we've had to fight those and still bring people into the country. That's actually really... some people who really understand tourism appreciate what the tourism industry has done, been so resilient, never given up, and kept, I mean, you know, the flag flying. I mean, you know, even though it wasn't flying the way the Maldivians were flying their flag or the Thais have been flying their flag high up, but still we have done, I think, something to keep tourism alive. And if this, I mean, I am very confident that if this fighting ends, or when this fighting ends, tourism is going to, you know, take off and help develop this country.
But, you know, there are very, as you said, everybody and their auntie and their dog have opinion about this. But I've heard varying opinions whether Sri Lanka should be a boutique hotel destination, whether it should be a backpackers destination, whether it should be a charter destination, whether it should be all of the above or none of the above. You know, how, once or if the war is over, how do you think Sri Lanka should and could be sold?
I think it's very difficult to define and say, look, we should be this or that. Ideally, we should look at, like, you know, we are a small nation. and at the moment we have only 14,000 rooms. And from revenue point of view, the more high end you have,
sorry, just to interrupt you. When you say just 14,000 rooms, help put that into perspective. How many rooms, for example, would the Maldives have?
At the moment, Maldives have more than us. Their plan is to have 25,000 rooms by 2012 or something like that.
Right.
I mean, when they started, they had probably 2 islands having 100 rooms, you know, or less than 100 rooms. So they've really taken off. And so in 1982 we had 14,000 rooms, and now we are in 2009 and we still have 14,000 rooms. So yes, we will have to build more rooms for sure. Maybe go up to 25,000 rooms and have a cap at that for some time. But those who are building now should practice good tourism. You know, it can be a big hotel or a small hotel, because some investors will have more money and they'll want to build a bigger hotel. Some will have a smaller hotel. Be that whatever they want to do, but use the good practices, you know, safeguard the environment, you know, involve the local communities, and, you know, all bringing those good practices in, big or small, and look at getting more people who will spend more money. Obviously, that's where the country will benefit.
So you're looking at volume, or you're looking at that particular segment of I don't know what you call it, that class of tourists who would spend a high spend.
Preference is high spenders, but you can't have all high spenders in any nation. So obviously, backpackers are a very important unit actually. I mean, you know, backpackers can be university students, for example, and they end up being, you know, corporate executives one day, and then they come. So they might come and stay in a backpacker lodge now. 10 years later, they'll come in as a high-end tourist.